so bright. I don't wanna lose that somebody. I don't wanna lose somebody.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Kim and today I am doing a very special speed build. This is my LGBT community celebratory build and it's called the Star Bar Sky Lounge. Now this comes in at just less than 224,000 simoleons on a 40 by 30 penthouse lot in San Myshuno. I was super excited to do this build because it's something that I've wanted to do for a while, although I wasn't entirely sure where I wanted to do it or how I wanted to do it. So this is a little bit of a strange build, and it's gonna look even stranger watching this speed build because there is literally no theory to this build. This is me just making it up as I go. Now I knew I wanted to do like a star type shape. I wanted it to be extravagant. At first I was going to go all out with the colours, pride colours, but I kind of thought it looked a little bit more kiddified the more that I did, so I wanted it to be quite a classy area. This is going to be like your posh end bar. Now I'm very fortunate that I live in Manchester, and Manchester Gay Village has been a massive part of my social life, which I'll get into shortly. But some of the bars along the Gay Village, if you've never been to Manchester before, we have a real, they call it the Gay Village because that's exactly what it is really. It's a small village in the central Manchester that is just for the LGBT community and they've got all sorts of different bars there, and it's an absolute scream. But some of them bars, the way they're designed, they're all different. Some of them are very posh, some of them are very like just like a pub, and some of them have got stages inside for drag shows. And so with this particular one, I wanted to do something that was extravagant, very posh, just a real gorgeous place to be, but a place that you're going to be able to really party. Also a place that you might be able to relax and just chill out and have a nice, I could imagine sat up there having a nice glass of wine, sat at a table with just an amazing view, sat with good friends, or getting up and having a boogie. But yeah, this build was all over the shop. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but you know, I quite like the way it looks in the end. I did actually film this over a couple of days, and it was like every time I came to it I was like, this looks ridiculous, it just looks stupid, no, that's gotta go, that's gotta go. And I do a lot of chopping and changing, so yeah, it's not going to flow this particular build, but in the end you will start to see how things begin to piece together, and then ultimately how it ends up looking the way that it does. But it's quite a unique build. I had it in mind that I wanted to do this bar, but it was literally a comment on my last video by Chrissy York, who'd said, I think it would be really good if you did some sort of sky lounge. And I was like, bingo, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it in a penthouse like style sort of sky lounge. So I managed to get my idea together and finally got the plot and location, and here we have it. Now this particular build, you're probably thinking, well, we've finished celebrating in June, but over here in Manchester we never finish celebrating Pride. It's something that happens every single day of the week in the Gay Village. You know, we're really proud. We're very lucky to have such a supportive and tight-knit community that care and love people, regardless of sexuality, regardless of gender, and Manchester is an absolute pinnacle for that. Now we actually do our celebrations, sorry, losing my voice there. We actually do our celebrations in the month of August as opposed to June. I think everywhere celebrates, or certainly over in America, I think it is, they do the celebrations in June, but over here we celebrate in August. And I thought, you know what, We do the actual Pride event in August, but we celebrate the whole year round. Now, for me, you're probably thinking, well, aren't you married to a man and have children? Yes, I am, and yes, I do. And yes, my sexual orientation is I am a straight female. However, the LGBT community has played a massive part in my life, a massive part in my social life, and I have spent many a weekend in the gay village. I'd probably say I'm very proud to be part of a generation that changed it from being taboo to something that is now widely socially acceptable. Now, I do understand there is still a hell of a lot of discrimination out there, especially in certain parts of the world. However, leaps and bounds personally, where I grew up, has had a massive change from what it was when I was a kid. Now, my first ever experience was a good friend of mine in high school. Now, coming out in high school, it just wasn't heard of back then, and but we did have one friend in particular. I'm not going to name any names in this video just out of respect for them, but I'm sure she wouldn't mind anyway. But we had one friend who did decide to come out in the school year, and she's a lovely girl, and basically, I'll never forget what she said, because she said to me years later, Kim, when I told everybody about my sexuality, you were the first person to hug me. And it proper got me. I was like, well, of course I'm going to hug you. It's a massive thing. Like, it's a good thing. Like, why wouldn't I hug you? But back then it was, you're going to get kids that are going to taunt, people that don't understand, shallow minds, etc. And, it started with a whole kind of bullying thing of, does she fancy you because she's a girl? And, it's ridiculous. But anyway, she was very proud, and she was also very strong-willed. And she kind of set, how would you say it? She kind of set the wheels in motion, because it was from her that people then became more comfortable with their sexualities. And man, I've just gone on to meet so many people in my life of so many different sexual orientations, it's unbelievable. But the main story that I do want to share is one that was very close to me. Now, this particular girl was someone who was very close to me, and she fell in love with her childhood sweetheart in high school, and they became they were like a well-known couple. Everybody knew who they were, and they were nice, and basically 11 years into the relationship, she told me and came out as being gay. Now, that particular process was extremely hard and extremely difficult for her, and I'm not gonna lie, there were many people that were hurt in the process, and it took her 3 years to sit down in the end and say, I'm bisexual, and be comfortable with it. It was hard, really hard, and I was with her the entire time, and I'm so glad I was part of that process, that I was able to hold her hand through some of the most difficult of times, because she was very well known, and it was very difficult for her because of her relationship and the length of time that she'd been with this particular guy. It was very difficult for her to be open and honest, and obviously there was going to be hurt involved from his perspective as well. But ultimately, she had to be true to herself. She couldn't live a lie, and it was hard, but in the end we had some real good times, and we met some amazing people. Now, I'm not actually originally from Manchester. I'm from 40 miles south of Manchester, and there's not a lot there. It's like a small town type thing. So we travelled together up to the gay village, is what we call it over here, and we'd have nights out at the weekend, and through that met a whole world of people who I absolutely love and treasure, and we've had some amazing times and made amazing memories. But each one of those people has a story that is, for some, easy to tell, and for others is still painful. There are some people that are still hiding their sexuality from certain members of the family, certain members of the community. Some people still feel like they can't be open in their jobs with their colleagues. It's so sensitive and so difficult. But with time, and with celebrations like this across the world, we can help to eradicate this being taboo anymore. And like I say, I'm really lucky that I live in Manchester, where socially it's acceptable, it's okay, and it's now pretty much become the norm. I know my son is 13 now, and in his school already there are people who have expressed that they feel they could be bisexual or gay right down at his age. And I think it's important for kids to be able to express how they feel. I certainly know that when you have to compress those feelings, it can change who you are as a person. It can be bad for the mental health. It's not healthy to try and be somebody that deep down that you're not. But some people have spent years upon years, decades upon decades. I know somebody who was in my school who it was actually their dad came out as being gay, and he was well into his 50s, and that just shocked absolutely everybody. There wasn't, I don't think, anybody in the town that didn't know that story, because it was just such a shock. But you know what? He's spent a long time and a massive part of his life suppressing these feelings of who he truly is. And I think it's important to be who you are. It's important to be proud of who you are. And yes, sometimes we do have to be sensitive to those around us, but we're in good times. We're heading in a good direction, I feel. But certainly there is still a large amount of discrimination out there, and definitely in other parts of the world. And I think it's important that we stand shoulder to shoulder and celebrate with the LGBT community in eradicating that sort of discrimination. But I know that personally I've made some absolutely amazing memories in the past, and the LGBT community has been a massive part of that. And every one of those friends that watches this video, they'll all know who they are, and they will know that I love them to pieces, and I'm very honoured to have been a part of their journey. So this is my dedication bill to them. I can imagine this being in the heart of the village and us just rocking the night away, as we've done many a time, until the sun rose. And I really hope you like this build. And if you did, please give me a like and a thumbs up, and a massive big up to the LGBT community. Let's be proud and let's celebrate with them. Take care. Bye.
So proud.